And I'm so glad you came today because I need your help, okay? My friend Mark called. He has this great opportunity he wants to talk to me about. And the thing about Mark is that he always has a great opportunity he wants to talk to me about. Anybody else has a friend like this, right? They call you all the time. They have this great idea. And simply, half the time, I avoid these calls, to be candid. And the other half, I kick myself because it was a great opportunity. And so I need your help to figure out what to do about Mark's latest call. So did he call anybody else? Anybody else got a call from Mark and he talked about his sort of massage thing opportunity? Anybody else heard about it? Some of you? Yeah? Okay. So speaking about receiving calls, again, I told Mark that we would get back to him, but he's a bit impatient, so I'm afraid he'll call while we're trying to make a decision. Can you sort of help me out and make sure that your phones are on vibrate or on silent so that we don't have to field this call while we're trying to make a decision? Can you please pull out your phone, make sure that for the next 45 minutes they're on vibrate or silent? Great, thank you. And in fact, another way to think about this is today we're going to, so again, we're going back to the future, right? So the first call I get from Mark about this opportunity is it's in the early 90s, right? Big hair, loud, sort of makeup. And he's telling me it's business opportunity. And what I really would like to know is how it's going to play out in the future. So wouldn't you want to be able to go 20, 30 years ahead in the future, maybe to 2018, and figure out what turned out, right? Anybody else would like to be able to see into the future? Right, except right now we can't. So we're still in the early 80s when we get this call. So again, in order to travel back to the 90s, right, again, so no technology, because, by the way, any sci-fi fans in the room, like me? No sci-fi fans? Yeah, okay. So as you know, you can't bring technology back to you into the 90s because it might corrupt the timeline, right? So again, so what I'm gonna ask you to do is put your phone aside, put your computer aside, and in fact, you can only travel what you have. Anybody saw Terminator? Okay, I'm not gonna have you land naked, but it's almost as if, right? So you can't take anything with you. So please clear your space of anything that you have that would distract you. We're going back to the 90s, and we're going to make that decision. All right. One last thing I need to make sure that we get. As you may hear in my voice, I wasn't born in Florida, right? I'm one of those kids who watch too many movies. You may hear a few references today, and who couldn't wait to come to America. So let me just acknowledge the accent. Anybody wants to take a guess where you come from? Do you recognize my accent? No? Want to try? So it's a dual accent. I was born in Paris, France, so it's a French accent. And then I grew up in the Caribbean, so there's a Caribbean accent. Martinique is between St. Lucia and Dominica, sort of across from Venezuela. Great place to go on vacation, right? Okay. So today you're going to hear for two accents. So if at any point of time it doesn't make sense, you can't hear me, please stop me. Because when I get excited, I speak too fast, because I get excited about an opportunity. And no problem, just let me know, can you repeat this, and I'll be okay. Can we make that agreement? All right, deal. So back to the opportunity, okay? So, so anybody else who got that call, can you please tell me a little bit about what you heard from Mark? So anybody can actually sort of help me understand the mechanics of the case? Black marker, there it is, my black marker. Thank you, Connor. So what did Mark, so Mark is our inventor, right? And Mark has a great, idea, right? So he has a product that he wants to talk to us about. So who can tell me a little bit more about what Mark shared before we actually take our journey? Somebody? Anybody?
About the product he wants to invent?
Yes.
The one with the massage product with the wooden balls and the one metal ball?
Right, so he has this product which is sort of, a massage tool, right, that he wants to invent, right? In fact, in preparation for this conversation, we have a few pictures of the tool. Okay, so tell me more. What about the tool? Did you not get the call from Mark yet? Was I the only one or the first one to get the call?
And by call, well, you mean the case study, right? So
By the way, have you actually seen this anywhere? No, not familiar, huh? Okay, so who can tell me a little bit more about why Mark thinks it's such a great opportunity to actually have this tool? Henry, it seems that you got the call too.
Just because of the pressure points and the way that you use it for massage.
Yeah, so what does Mark do for a living?
Massage therapist, right?
Yes, Mark is a massage therapist, right? So that's hard work, isn't it? Lots of work with his hands. So Mark is coming up with this tool which might actually help him get more done with less effort. Now that sounds like a good idea, right? So Henry, you told me a little bit. It just sounds like it is made of wood. Okay. What else do you know about Mark's idea? Yes, Connor?
He says as he was a masseuse, many therapists would develop a carpal tunnel syndrome. So this tool is supposed to help with that.
Wow, so it helps with carpal tunnel. Is that important? I mean, is that a serious problem if you have carpal tunnel? Anybody knows what carpal tunnel is? Right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what it is?
That's it.
So it's in your wrist, and I think it's from overexposure from a certain activity.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in like your joint or your.
Yeah, thank you, Cooper. So can you see how if you're a massage therapist, that could be debilitating and get in the way of you being able to make a living?
Yeah, but gotta work.
Right? So again, so that's a pretty important problem to solve for other massage therapists, right? Thank you, Cooper. Connor, anything else?
No.
So again, imagine it is the 1990s. And again, you're getting this call from our friend Mark, who's saying, I'm a massage therapist. I know what it's like, working all those long hours and potentially developing carpal tunnel. And I have this great idea for this tool that I haven't seen anyplace else. It's very simple. It's made of wood. So it's little balls of wood, which are just at the right angle to touch the right massage points that I can use so that I or other massage therapists can actually do a great job and help other clients without actually getting exhaustion and running into carpal tunnel. And he wants to know whether you would be willing to invest because he's brilliant, but broke, right? So he wants to know if you would be willing to invest to help him with this particular product. What do you think? Do you know at this point what you might answer when he calls asking for money?
Not yet.
Not yet, right? So as I mentioned before, Mark's a bit impatient. So we're going to have to still take a stand. At some point, we may not have a perfect answer, but we're going to have to tell him something. By the way, it's calling collect from Germany, so we're paying for those charges. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to do something quite difficult with very limited information so far. We only have a little bit in the text, a little bit that's been shared. I'm going to ask you to take a stand. Please stand up. Take a stand. Right? Okay. Everybody, please stand up. And if you're saying, yes, I have enough information or I'm willing to actually help Connor, I'm willing to actually help Mark start this company and produce this product, right? Please come stand here. If you know for a fact that you're not willing because you don't think this is a viable business opportunity, please stand here. All of you are thinking, I don't know. So what would you need to know to help you make a decision one way or the other? You can stop, please. What would you need to know to help you make a decision one way or the other? Please, John. What?
You need to fly me out to Germany, and
Okay.
if I like it, then maybe I invest. If not,
Okay,
There are different ways.
okay, I like this. I had yes, please, Henry.
So has the prototype been tested and are there any results?
Right? How do I know if it works? That's a great idea, but how do I know, right? What other questions would you have?
So I'm back there.
Jen, yeah, I've also yes, please. Brooke.
They don't know if there's a patent already on it.
Right, again, so we don't know if somebody else has actually already the intellectual rights. Just because if anybody else has had a great idea and then you find out other people had a similar great idea, right? So again, we don't know if somebody else has already done it elsewhere and if they have the rights to it. And how would we be able to make money if somebody else already has the rights to it? Anything else you'd like to know before you can make a decision?
The cost?
Yes, how much is it going to cost and how much money can we potentially make? Because if we're not making money, it's not a business, right? Okay, so I'm right there with you. And since I'm not an expert, I decided to call an expert. So I decided to call my friend John, and my friend John is a serial entrepreneur, right? He has started several multi-million-dollar companies in different industries, so semiconductor industries, and he actually is pretty skilled at understanding if we have a good business opportunity. And more importantly, since he's now living off of his income, in his spare time, he actually teaches entrepreneurship and intellectual property protection in a university. So I decided to call my friend John in to see if he could actually help us to find out if we can, if this is a good opportunity or not. Sounds good? John?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, I'd like to ask you guys to help me with something before I get started. Would you consider doing that? So the guys in the next room are almost asleep. So what I want to do is I want to wake them up. So I'm going to say, go Tampa, and I want you guys to come back, go Bucks, okay? But we're going to do it really loud. Are you okay with that? Will you buy into it? All right, ready? Here we go. Go Tampa!
Go Bucks!
Yeah, okay, try it one more time. This time with a little enthusiasm. This is your college. Go Tampa!
Go Bucks!
Okay, all right, I'll take that. Well, in the beginning, I want to share with you something very personal to me. Probably my worst failure, okay? So as you heard earlier, I am a serial entrepreneur, and I worked with a group to start a company, and that company failed dismally, okay? They had a really good idea, they had really good stories to tell, and these, the founders of this company were so convincing that they were able to ask all the people in their church and all these little old ladies, talked to all their friends, and they raised around $20 million. Could you get a business off the ground with $20 million? Sounds like, right? So we invented, the founders invented this product that we then put into fact. We built this product. It was about this long, cost around $10,000, and it was going to save a lot of energy. Should people buy that? We want to save energy, right? It's a green thing to do. So it sounded good. And the CEO of the company said, if we build this, they're going to buy it because they need to buy it. It'll adjust the lights, it'll save all kinds of energy. So we invested about $15 million of these little old ladies living on pensions. They kind of falsified their agreements, because you have to say that even if you lose money, you're going to be okay. So they kind of falsified those agreements, which they shouldn't have done. But do you know how many of those products we actually sold? Take a wild guess. What do you think?
Not one.
You're right. Imagine what a disappointment to spend 2 years and millions of dollars and nobody bought this. So you don't really want to invest your money in a company like that, do you? You wouldn't like to lose your money. It's pretty hard earned to stick into a company that doesn't work. So what we want to do is take you on a short journey to see how you might look at Mark's business prospects and see whether or not you want to invest. Would that be okay? Is that what you want to hear about, guys? Would that be okay on this Saturday morning? So the first thing we want to do is see whether the inventor seems credible to us. Does the inventor have any experience in marketing from the case study? He does. He actually did some marketing. What about sales? Did he do any sales? Does anybody remember from the study? John, is it in there? Does it talk about sales?
I didn't read it thoroughly, to be honest, so
Okay.
I couldn't tell you.
Well, I'll give you a hint that he did, in fact, do sales. And, in fact, he owned his own business. So he didn't do this exact business, but he did it. And Caitlin, is he certified as a massage therapist?
Yes.
He is. So what we would say then, would we agree that he's credible? So he, as you heard earlier, he's broke, but he's credible. Now remember, these guys that I went to work for in that company that dismally failed, they were credible. They talked about 25 little old ladies who talked to about 25 more, and they put the money in because he was credible. So that's not enough. Now we have to look at this product offering, and we have to take a look at several aspects of the product offering. So first off, what is this offering about? We talked a little bit about it. You've seen a picture. So what is this offering for? Henry, you talked about it. It's to relieve carpal tunnel. It's to make the massaging a lot better, right? So we see that it removes the pain, right? So it removes the pain of the carpal tunnel and the pain in people's hands as they do the massage. Have you ever had a massage, TJ? So have you ever wondered how they do that all day long with their hands? I have. I thought it would be very painful. So it removes that pain. Does it delight anybody?
Hold on. Should we give them a minute to read the case?
What's that?
Should we give them a minute to read the case?
I think we're okay. And so the question was whether we should give you a little time to read the case, but what I'm teaching you, I can help you through it if nobody knows the answer, so we'll be okay. So there's also a delight involved. One of the other things in looking at an opportunity, if you can remove a pain or cause a delight, that's good. And what we read in the case, or what we would have read in the case, is that the customers enjoyed this. It was a better massage. If I'm trying to massage you with my hand, it's a pretty big area. But with those balls, it's pretty narrow. So if any of you have scar tissue from an accident, you'd know what that could do, that you can push the knots out of your skin. And there was a wow, too. There was a wow factor to this. What was the wow factor? Anybody want to guess? The students who bought it, or the people that were massaged who bought it, really liked it. They liked it so much, they asked him to have more made, and he was having this made by some kind of a crazy method of cutting balls out of wood things, and it's probably not very efficient. So it was a big deal, and they wanted it made. So we see that there's many possibilities here. This thing could be used as a gift, because people bought it to give to gifts. So how do you say your name, Elijah?
Elijah, yeah.
So Elijah has some problems. You got the massage. You bought it as a gift for Elijah because you thought it would help him, right? So it could be that we make something that can be given as a gift. It could be that it's just used by a professional massage therapist, right? They could use it to improve their massage. Or it could be that when Mark gets this all done, he's got a video, he's got oils, he's got everything you need to massage out your own pain. Would that help, do you think, Giselle? What do you think? So of those, which one is more convincing to you? Which one would you guys like to pursue if you were going to invest? Somebody tell me what you think. You know enough, even if you didn't read the case. You want it to be a gift? Who wants it to be a gift? Okay, who wants it to be for home use? Home use? A lot more home use? Who thinks we should make it for professionals only? Couple? You're thinking both, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell
And
me
then,
more about why you think both.
It could be applied in the sports world. It could be used by doctors, all trainers, and things like that. But also for a person that has some kind of chronic pain at home and also wants it for home use.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any place else you guys think we could use it?
Why is it made out of wood?
doesn't have to be. That's just what he had to begin with. And rosewood looks really sweet. but I've seen it also made out of plastic, and it could be made out of metal because some people like the feel of metal and the chi of metal. So you're right, it could be made out of other things. So let's pursue it then. You know, from what we've said as a team, we kind of like it for home use, as gifts, and for professional masseuses. So essentially, we chose a product. So the product would be just making this thing out of whatever material. Then there's a service, the masseuse, and a product package, which would be building all the other things in. So those are our three opportunities for this, and we've chosen basically a product. So now the next question is, can we make this? So this would be the manufacturability of this. Well, he's already made some, right? And we know that injection molding, we can mold things out of plastic, we can cast things, correct? So can we make this thing? What do y'all think? Pretty much. Brent, could you make this thing? Yeah? So that's the problem though, isn't it? Brent could make it as well as Mark could make it. Is that right? So we don't have a lot of protection. What we can do is we could go after a patent, but we're broke. And we could ask our friends to invest, we could ask our family, our church, but we don't have a lot of money. And that's going to cost, if you want to get a patent, it takes 3 to 5 years, realistically, and it takes like, in the range of $25,000 to $35,000. So for this business, it doesn't make a lot of sense. What do you think we could charge for that little rosewood massager? What would you pay for it, Vincent, if it really helped you?
How much should I pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
Probably no more than like $15.
Perfect. And you're going to take a little escape and go to the future. On Amazon, you can get it for about $13, $14. Yeah. So you're right on. So this isn't going to be a high margin product for us, is it? So what kind of business do we have? Do we have a high margin, low volume, or a high volume, low margin business here? What do you think? Sorry? Yeah, I think it's a high volume, low margin business. So now we have something really important. We know we can make it. We've seen parts of it. Can others make it? They can. We don't think we have the ability to go into some kind of a deep patenting. And you know that company that I told you about that I had such failure with? Remember that? We had half a dozen patents. All a patent does is say somebody else can't make it. It doesn't say you can make it. And it does help and convince little old ladies to give you their money, but it doesn't mean the product's going to be acceptable. Never thought of that, right? Patent sounds like it's got to be really good, right? But it wasn't. It wasn't a good product at all. So we've made it. There are potentials if we wanted to do it. Patents, whether useful or not, do give you some credibility in terms of gathering money and finding investors, but it doesn't mean you'll be successful. So now we have to figure out, you know, we've gone through the inventor, the product offering, we said we can make it, that's all looking good. Now we have to look at who the customers are. And we have some good feedback already on that. John talked to us about trainers, and several of you said, yeah, we could use it at home. Who do you think our main customers are likely to be for this product? It's high volume, low margin. Where's this product going? I'm sorry? Probably into home use. And in fact, I've had one in my bottom dresser drawer for probably 10 years. I've never used it, but I do have one. So it's a nice gift. You can stick it in the Christmas basket. It's very easy. So one of our top customers are going to be people that are just using it at home. Thank you very much. Good thing. What do they want from it? We talked about the different materials. They want it to work, right? They want it to be effective, and we think we have that. We have the credibility of Mark behind it. What else do they want from it? Vincent said he would only pay $15, so they want it to be pretty cheap, right? These things, the way that they were being made by Mark, were probably more in the range of $25. You had to machine that wood and put it all together, and until you get into pretty high volume, it's going to be expensive, right?
John, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I'm wondering, so you guys, let's imagine that either from us or somebody else, you know, right, Mark gets these things made. How are we going to make a business out of it? Right, let's say we actually have the thing, like the massage. How are we going to make a business out of it? Because, I mean, it could be sitting in somebody's warehouse, right? That doesn't make it a business. So help me out a bit. How could we make a business out of this?
Marketability.
Yeah, we may have to market it, right? What else?
So say you have to sell it, obviously.
You have to sell it. Okay, so tell me more, yes?
Do we have to find retailers to sell it?
Yeah, so we have to think about how we're going to get it sold, so which channel, so maybe retailers, right? What else?
Could be online.
Could be online? Yes, except it's 1990. It's not quite. So again, currently, yes, absolutely. So that's one of the challenges, right? So back then, if you can imagine that far back, how can we get it sold?
Product endorsement.
Ooh, yay. Now okay, so that's one way of marketing it differently, right? Who might we get to endorse it?
Sports franchise.
Right, so that's one of the channels. That would be one of the things. Who else might we get to? Let's say we have I like where you're going with. Let's make sure that it's, we'll give it some, make it distinctive. Who else can we get to endorse it?
So wouldn't it be better if you had somebody from the medical field that would endorse it?
Right, so again, especially if you want people to focus on some of the medical benefits, like who would be a trusted figure in the medical field? Chiropractors, right? For example, yes, people you go to when your back is out of joint, that makes sense, right? Who else?
Drew Bledsoe's trainer.
Yeah, exactly, right? Some of those trainers depend on the challenge. Okay, so let's say we actually have a sense for who's going to endorse it. What did you say about how we're going to, the channels to be, what did you say?
I just said find retailers.
Are you suggesting any in particular?
I was thinking something like Walmart, something big.
Okay.
Just can carry a lot of it in stock.
Right, if we're spending, and you're thinking home use, and that's something that's accessible to everybody, right? Okay, so it sounds like now we have we have a place to distribute it. We have someone to make it seen, right? So how else would you know, that's how we're making a business. Now how we make it a profitable, sustainable business?
So there's two sides of the profit thing. We have to make money from the product, right? So if it costs $25 and we're going to sell it for 15, are we making money? No. So let's say we get in volume and we get it down to $16 to make and we're selling it for 14. Is that making us money? Okay, well let's say that we get, go ahead, what were you gonna suggest?
I was just going to say you outsource it. You're already located in Germany, so why not go to China?
Possibly.
You're closer than you're.
I like your idea on that, John. What if we went to China and now it costs $8 and we can sell it at least to Vincent for $14? Are we okay?
Yes, but you want to get the lower cost down to I would say 3 or 4 and sell it for $12.99 or $14.99.
That's actually really good.
You're right in that regard, except you have to remember the entire profit chain, right? So if we buy it in China, let's say Henry's in China, and you sell it to me for $6, he's selling it to me in China. So I think that Brooke is going to do the logistics. You're going to bring it from China. It's going to cost how many dollars? What do you think? Let's say it's $1, right? We're going to ship it by ocean in big boxes. Well, we're up to $7, and now are we doing okay, John?
7, what are we selling it for?
Well, we want to sell for 14, but don't forget that Brent is going to be the retailer, and he's going to want something for that. He's going to want at least a 25% markup, right? You're going to put it in your store, you're going to advertise it, you're going to do my whole logistics to the customer, right? So now all of a sudden, where are we at? So we're going to sell it for 14. Brent's taking 25% of that, so how much do we have left? Or roughly. Let's say that it's going to be around $10, okay? So you're selling it to Brent. You just got it from Brooke for 8, right? And you're going to sell it here for 14. So the customer's okay. You're all right. You're getting 14. Your next door neighbor here, the retailer, he's okay. Brooke's okay, she got her transportation money. But now we're down to $2 of margin. Is that going to be enough? Because there's other things, right? We've got to pay for the sales, we've got to pay for the advertising things that we're doing. We're going to have to give demos, we're going to have to travel. So now is this business looking very attractive? Not terribly to me, anyway. Isabel?
Yeah, I'm actually wondering, because part of what I'd like to know is what maybe is happening in the environment, in the business environment, or maybe trends that are happening that would actually make this more likely to be successful or less likely to be successful. Right, so for example, it used to be, for example, that athletic wear was really for athletes or people doing a lot of sports, right? But if we look around, how many of you are wearing some form of athletic wear? Whether it's, or tennis shoes or like comfortable, right? If I had known back in the days that there would be such thing called as athleisure, and that everybody would be wearing athletic wear because that's comfortable to hang out with, and you could go to school, and you could go everywhere with, I might have invested there. That was a trend, right? So what are some of the trends that may actually make this more attractive or less attractive? Make people want to buy it more or buy it less? What ideas? What can you share with me?
Can they be customizable?
Right. So one of the market trends that people actually. So we're looking at the market. We're looking at a market. People actually like more and more customizable things. And I heard a level of customization. Where I heard, can we use other materials? Right, may have a preference. That's one level of customization. What else? What are some other trends in the environment that actually can make something more attractive or less attractive?
Somebody like, let's just say one of the Kardashians were to post it on Snapchat or Instagram if they're using it, and other people see that.
Yeah, so actually, so it's interesting. I think what I just heard you say is that our range of who might be a good endorser, who can actually make it more visible and market it, has actually dramatically increased, right? So we now have all of those, to your point, I don't even know that we used the term at the time, we have all of those influencers, and it wouldn't take much, right, to get a whole lot of visibility, right? So that's one thing. What else? What about people, what about the things that cause people to need one of those tools of massage? Are we being more active, less active? When you think about it, how do you think about the market is for this? Is it more need or less need than in the 90s nowadays?
Nowadays, it's less.
Tell me more why.
Because, I mean, majority of people, I mean, they're getting older and they're less active.
So that, does it make them need a massage tool more, or does it make them a massage tool less?
I would say massage tool less.
But let me clear you the end though, Henry. Old people have a lot of pain points.
So as I said, so you're correct about people are getting older, and actually also seeing they're more sedentary. So again, depending on, they may actually need it more, in fact, right? What else? Yes, please. TJ, yes.
Yeah, I would say it's the opposite because people are starting to have a more active lifestyle. You're starting to see trends like CrossFit become huge in those communities, become huge. And, I mean, injuries come anytime you're working out or doing that. And massaging is starting to be also a really big trend on injury prevention and rehabilitation.
All right. And what about people lifestyle? Do they have time to go to the chiropractor? Do they have time to go to a massage, right? As you shake your head. So not only is massage becoming a big trend, but time is becoming more scarce.
Right.
And so having a little tool that you can use at home that's not too expensive might actually be kind of convenient, right?
Could
So
be.
there's different ways to look at market opportunity. And so what we thought is, Connor, you look very silent in this room. So would you like an opportunity to
So
stand up,
Connor
speak
is a
up?
plant. He's one of the instructors. Take it away, Connor. Bring us home.
So as John said, I'm Connor, and while I'm not an expert, I'm the guy that stands between you and getting out of here. So help me out. Let's wrap this up and go. So I want to take a step back. Does Mark have a product?
Yes.
Yes. What is his product?
Massage device.
Massage device. Does Mark have a business? I got someone shaking head. No. What about over here? Sam, does he have a business?
He has an idea.
He has an idea. Yeah, we kind of talked about the different way he could take his business, right? He could make the tool and sell it. He could package it with a book or a video on how to use the tool, but he doesn't really have a tool. Now, does he have a market opportunity? Is there a need for this device? Got some heads? Lots of head shaking, okay. Would you say it's a good opportunity? Yes, I got some heads positive. Unsure, maybe. So when Mark calls you up, you're not going to give him, are you going to give him money? No. Are you going to ask him anything? He's like, hey, I got this cool massage tool. My buddies like it. I need some money. What are you going to tell Mark?
We need more research, more data.
More data. Okay. What kind of research?
Who else is using it? Has it been endorsed? How well is it being used? Or what are the results from it?
Okay.
How's it going to be beneficial?
Okay. What about over here? Laura? I haven't heard you speak. Would you buy this massage thing? Need more information? Okay. Brooke?
I'd say if you can find a way to manufacture it for cheaper,
Okay, so you think
I'd be more willing, but as of what we talked about,
okay. You know, John mentioned he has one that he's never used and it's sitting there. So it's like a white elephant gift, right? You just keep re-giving it to other suckers. Is that a sustainable business when you're just selling this one product that
Could possibly be.
could possibly be? But think about it, does it wear out?
No.
Assumably no, right? So you could buy one and you could have it the rest of your life, right? It could be like a memento. You could pass it down to your children. So we don't like Mark's idea, do we? Maybe? No? Does anyone like Mark's idea? If you had more information, Henry, do you think you would, like, write him a check?
In 1990? Yes.
I think John had a question or comment.
John?
No, I was just gonna say it would like need more information because there's been tons of products that have like even though you buy it once, you still bought that product, and there's been tons of companies that have made a killing off of those one product sales.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't exist today, but at the time they made money.
Yeah.
You might have that
Yeah.
still. So.
Yeah,
But
cheer
no,
pet.
you bring up a really good point. What is our end goal, right? Is it to have a one-hit wonder and then, you know, make a lot of money and cash out? Or are we trying to build a long-term sustainable business, right?
I think he's saying yes. Not one or the other. Yes, you'll take either. Is that what you're saying?
If I was Mark, I would try to make this like if someone offered me $20 million, even though it had the possibility to grow to like 100 or something, I'd probably take it.
Okay. Anyone else have any other, what would you do? Take the money and retire or try to build a long-term sustainable business? I'm here from the back row. Don't all speak at once.
I guess it all depends on how it plays out. It depends, you know, how successful it is, and I mean, if it's gonna be like a one-hit wonder, are you gonna sell your idea? I mean,
But you kind of have a sense of that before you even start, right? Mark only has this one product.
yeah, but not necessarily. I mean, you never know. I mean, it could be one of those things where, I mean, yeah, like John was saying, you know, like Christmas time comes and it's just like a perfect, like, you know, people will buy anything. And anyone could potentially have a use for
Yeah,
this
novelty
tool.
item.
So,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to say.
So I guess part of my question then would be, you have lots of other places you can invest your money. So even if you think that this is a pretty good one, would that be your preferred, or would you maybe be looking for something that has potentially a higher return? Or so how would you think about, you have this money, whether you invest it, whether you save it, whether you spend it, or whether you look for another investment opportunity? What would you be? Where would you guys go?
John?
I invest in a fruit company called Apple.
Ooh,
Wow, I haven't heard that one before.
fruit companies. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Anybody else?
All right, Isabel, you want to wrap us up?
Well, I was going to say, funny you should say that. I was going to say, so what happened, right? So back to the future, back to 2018, here's what happened. So again, you could look up on Amazon, and they sell it, right, $13.99, so it's still there. the fact that most of you don't have one tells us something about how appealing the new market, the younger market finds it. So I was going to say, so what did we do? Well, if you can see, John didn't like it as a business opportunity, and he's a serial entrepreneur, and he thought there were other more lucrative opportunities. And I was going to say that he invested in this little fruit company called Apple, so thank you very much, John, for killing the joke. Isabel, well, you know, she actually decided she wanted to invest more around hospitality. So again, she invested in this little company, this little mattress company, this little air mattress company called Airbnb. And Connor was actually a very good friend of Mark, who now goes by his middle name, Mark Z, invested in this little company with a little social network, which actually known as Facebook. No, I'm joking. The idea is it actually went forward, but what we really want to leave you with is, especially if you, nowadays where entrepreneurship, everybody wants to try it, everybody has a potential to be an entrepreneur, is that sometimes it's really great to start your own company, your own idea. And in fact, how many of you have an idea of what you would like to do for a business? Anybody? Yeah, I see a few hands, yeah, right? So sometimes you're the inventor, sometimes you're Mark. And I'd like you to know some of the things you can tell your friends to actually have them come on board and help you out, right? Sometimes you want to be the person Mark Z called, right? You want to be that 10th employee of Google. And sometimes about somebody else's idea that you want to join. And it's really what questions should you ask to find out if you should do this. Because again, how many of us would not want to go 20 years back and invest in that fruit company, right? And so what we'd like to leave you with is a better sense of what it would take. Yes, please. Oh, thank you.
I think.
Okay, you're just stretching, literally.
We have about 1 minute left, and from all of us in your instruction team, we want to thank you. I know that it's Saturday morning, and it was hard to get here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your help. Thank you for being a part of our day. We really appreciate it.
And I hope that next time somebody calls you, you have a sense of which question to ask. Thank you.